Drag one finger lightly across your opposite palm. You can feel the movement, but the tickle barely arrives. Now imagine the same path made by another hand. The physical contact can be similar, yet the second touch is far more likely to make you flinch. Your fingers are not the missing ingredient. The difference begins before the touch lands. Every voluntary movement starts with a motor command. Your nervous system uses information from that command to predict what the movement should feel like. When your right hand moves toward your left palm, the expected location, timing, and direction of the contact can be estimated in advance. Then the real sensory feedback arrives. A close match is treated as expected. The sensation is still present, but part of its intensity and surprise is attenuated. That is why the simple phrase, "You cannot tickle yourself," hides a much better question. How precise does the prediction have to be? In 1998, Sarah Jane Blakemore, Daniel Wolpert, and Chris Frith compared self-produced and externally produced tactile stimulation. Participants experienced touch that either followed their own movement or came from outside. Self-produced stimulation felt less ticklish. In the reported fMRI comparison, externally produced touch also produced more activity in somatosensory cortex than self-produced touch. The researchers argued that the cerebellum helps predict the sensory consequence of movement. That prediction can be used to attenuate feedback that matches what the nervous system already expected. This does not mean the cerebellum contains a tickle switch. It means the brain network has information about the command before the consequence arrives. Think of a warehouse receiving a delivery. If the package, route, and arrival time match the advance notice, the delivery is logged as expected. If a box appears without notice, it demands attention. Your nervous system is not literally checking paperwork, but the comparison captures the key idea. Prediction changes how incoming feedback is weighted. The decisive test is to make a self-produced touch stop matching its advance notice. In a 1999 experiment, participants moved one robotic device that controlled another device touching the opposite hand. The researchers could add a delay between the participant's movement and the resulting touch. They could also perturb the direction of the touch, so it no longer followed the expected path. As the temporal delay or trajectory mismatch increased, participants rated the sensation as more ticklish. The movement was still initiated by the participant. What changed was the correspondence between the command and the consequence. A late or misdirected touch created a larger prediction error. The sensory result became harder to label as the expected product of the movement. This gives the story its first boundary. Knowing that you caused an event is not enough to guarantee attenuation. The consequence needs to arrive with the right timing and geometry. Location matters at an even finer scale. A 2021 study tested whether sensory attenuation spreads across nearby fingers. Participants pressed a sensor that produced a tactile impulse. The touch could land on the finger positioned at the action's goal or on a neighboring finger. The well-timed touch was attenuated at the goal finger, but the neighboring finger did not show the same pattern. That result rules out a simple blanket mute button for the whole hand. The prediction can be spatially selective. It carries information about where the consequence should occur. Now return to the palm test. Your moving finger supplies a motor command. The expected path points to a particular strip of skin. The timing is tightly linked to your movement. All three pieces line up. The resulting touch is predictable enough to lose much of its ticklish surprise. Another person's hand does not give your motor system the same advanced command. You can see the hand approaching and still feel ticklish because visual expectation is not identical to the movement-based prediction used for self-generated touch. Predicting that someone will touch you is different from generating the command that produces the touch. Researchers have also asked how the prediction and the felt result are connected in the brain. In 2020, Konstantina Kiltini and Henrik Urson combined a force-matching task with fMRI. Participants compared externally produced and self-generated touch. The study found attenuation in somatosensory areas during self-generated touch. It also found that people who showed stronger behavioral attenuation tended to show stronger functional connectivity between the cerebellum and somatosensory regions during the task. The important word is network. The result does not support a cartoon in which one spot simply erases touch. It supports communication between areas involved in predicting movement consequences and areas processing bodily sensation. Sensory attenuation is useful well beyond a party trick. Every action produces waves of predictable input. Your eyes move, your skin stretches, your clothes shift, your voice reaches your ears, and your feet strike the ground. If every self-produced consequence demanded the same priority as an unexpected event, the outside world would be harder to separate from the noise of your own action. Attenuation helps expected consequences take a quieter place. Unexpected input can then stand out. That is a functional explanation, not proof that every sensory system uses one identical mechanism. Touch, sound, and vision have different pathways, and experiments use different tasks. The self-tickle result is a vivid entry point into a broader question about prediction. It is also easy to overstate what the palm test can tell you. A person who reports more or less ticklishness is not passing or failing a neurological exam. Ticklishness varies with body location, context, attention, the exact movement, and how the comparison is made. The studies reveal group-level patterns under controlled conditions. They do not turn a bedroom experiment into a diagnosis. The same caution applies to the phrase, "The brain cancels touch." Cancellation is historical shorthand. The sensation is not erased. Self-generated touch can still be felt, localized, and used to guide movement. What changes is its perceived intensity, or ticklishness, when prediction and feedback match. This is why the robotic delay is the most revealing scene. It lets your own movement produce a consequence that feels less like yours. Add enough delay, bend the trajectory, or move the target, and the advanced prediction becomes less accurate. The nervous system receives a delivery that no longer matches the notice. So why can you not tickle yourself very well? Because the motor command gives your nervous system an unusually precise preview of the coming touch. Timing, direction, and location line up. The arriving sensation contains less error and less surprise, so it is attenuated. The mystery was never weak fingers. It was a prediction arriving first, then being checked against reality. Please subscribe for more people fact.